Hi, I'm Tarrin Lupo from terranlupo.com. Stay tuned and you'll learn all about glass blowing. After the success of my last documentary about quitting your job and becoming a farmer, which you can see right here, one of the requests I got the most to do is a story about glass blowing and how to start a glass blowing business. So I decided to go to my friends over at Terrapin Glassblowing Studio in Jaffrey, New Hampshire.
Hi, my name is Dominique Cassie. I first got into glass blowing as an elective at Franklin Pierce University. From there, I decided that I really wanted to learn some more. So I took classes wherever I could. Eventually, I got my parents on board, and here we have our business. We've definitely learned some things over the years being a business here at Terrapin Glassblowing Studio. But before we talk shop, let's go over some safety because that's the most important. Before we go into our hot shop, we're going to talk about our safety. While we're in the studio, you're always going to wear your safety glasses. This is because when the glass is hot, it's predictable. It all wants to flow together. As it starts cooling down, it'll crack and pop. We always want to make sure our glasses are there to protect your eyes. In the studio, you will see some metal trash barrels. Sometimes they have rods poking out of them. You do not want to stick your face around the trash barrels, especially without your safety glasses. This is where the rods go to cool down and your unused glass is collected. Every once in a while, little bits of glass will come out of the trash barrel. You do not want to pick up any of the glass that is in the trash barrel or around the floor of the shop. It could be hot, it could be sharp, and it is also unpredictable. It could shatter at any time. The next thing to remember about safety in the studio is there is a lot of hot metal everywhere. You never just want to grab something. The proper way is to ease our way into it and make sure it's not hot. Another important thing to talk about while we are moving and working in a studio is to communicate. It can get very loud and busy in studios, so you want to make sure to communicate where you're going. Say behind you, coming through. If you have the glass, you have the right of way. Don't be afraid to yell. You aren't being rude, you're just being safe. Lastly, it's a great idea to hydrate while you're in the studio. You should have a water jug and cups out. Drink so much more water than you think you need. If you feel dizzy or tired or need to take a break at all, don't hesitate. We even tell our students to feel free to pull an instructor aside to speak privately if need be. Let's go over some of the common equipment found in a studio. Here we have the pipe warmer. The glass won't stick to the metal on the ends of the rods unless they're hot. So the pipe warmer's whole job is to preheat the tips of all the rods for us so that they are hot and ready to use when we wish to use them. So we take our hot rod from the pipe warmer and we go over to our furnace. Our furnace runs at 2075 degrees and it runs all the time. Inside is a big ceramic pot full of a pool of melted clear glass. So we take our glass from the furnace and we go over to our workstation. Before we continue on, I want to stop and answer a common question. What does our glass look like before it goes into the furnace? We buy these big clear nuggets of glass that look like ice cubes. It comes by the ton. We take that clear glass every night at the end of the day when we're done working and we dump it into the furnace. When the furnace is full, it'll hold 135 pounds of these clear nuggets. Overnight, all the bubbles that are trapped between the nuggets of glass will float to the surface. By the next morning, all the glass is melted and ready for another day of work. Here we have our workbench with our tools that we use to manipulate the glass in the manner in which we choose. So we heat it up in this glory hole, and then we sit down at our bench and use our tools to shape it. We reheat and shape with the glass heating and cooling until we're finished. When we're finished with our work, it needs to be put in the annealer. So if our finished pieces were just sit on the table, they would cool down too quickly and break. The annealer will hold our glass at a very nice comfortable temperature, which is 960 degrees for this type of glass that we use here. At the end of the day, we'll run it through a program where it'll slowly come down to room temperature overnight at a rate that the glass won't fracture or crack. Every morning, we come in, empty the annealer, and relight it again for another day of work. We tell our students if they're coming from far away, we'd be happy to ship their stuff. If not, we'll hold on to it until they're ready to come back and get it. In our studio, we sometimes take photos of our students. Most of them love it when we put them in action on our social media sites, but we also make sure to respect their privacy. We won't take any pictures of our students if they ask us not to. You can find us, our photos, and our stories on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Terrapin Glass.
Now that our safety lesson's over, I really wanted to see how you actually make a piece from start to finish. So Jocelyn decided to show me how to make this cool cow pendant.
My name is Jocelyn. I'm going to show you guys how to make a cow pendant today. We're going to start the process by gathering up some material to work with. So right now I'm just going to bend this rod over and melt it down onto itself. Start gathering this up by attaching a punty. I put it directly into the flame and direct the heat where I want it to go so that I can melt things down nice and quick. I gather everything up, and once it's gathered I can take this punty off. And now once the punty is off, I can melt everything down. I want to round out this white blob of glass so that I can get ready to add the black dots. Once everything's melted and round, I can grab this black rod, get it nice and hot, and add a couple dots of color on there for the cow spots. They don't need to look round, they can look really natural. And once those spots are on there, I'm going to melt everything in, make it nice and smooth. Once everything's hot, I'm going to grab this graphite paddle and mash it, make it flat. Now I'm going to work with gravity, directing everything back into the flame and making the shape of the cow's face. Once that's all set, I'm going to let it cool down. Grab my white rod over here and start adding the ears. Basically everything in glass in the flame shop is adding dots. So now I'm going to add some dots for the ears. Try to get them the same size. And once they're nice and hot, I'm going to mash them flat with these metal tools. And then I'll get them hot again and pull them with the tweezers to shape them up. Try to get them nice and even. Once the ears are all set, I can grab this caramel color and make some horns. And then I can add the eyeballs. Tiny dots call for a tiny flame. I bring my elbows in a little bit closer to my body, move a little closer to the torch, being very careful not to put my hand in the torch, and make some tiny dots, melt those in, make them nice and round. And then I come on out of the flame and I'm going to attach what will become the hook with this clear rod. And then I separate it from the white rod here. Add a little bit more color for the snout or the nose and use the tungsten pick to create the indents. And then finally I create the hook. Once this is all set, I let it cool down and then go into the kiln to let it cool down fully overnight.
We're going to talk a little bit about our assembly line for pumpkins. Pumpkins are a nice thing to do when you're looking to start selling your glass. It sells very well in the fall, especially in the New England areas, and they're pretty fast to produce. So you can see our pumpkin production line in the studio. I work as the gaffer. I gather some glass out of the furnace on my hollow blowpipe, and I'll pick up some orange color for the body of the pumpkin. After that, I blow my bubble. I get it all set up in the mold with some ridges so that it'll be very pumpkin-like, and I'll start cutting out little pumpkins off of that bubble. As the pumpkins come off, our intern Jimmy will have the whatever color stem we're doing today. So today we did amber, we do a lot of green. He'll have that stem color ready, and my sister will attach it onto the body of the pumpkin, wrap the stem around a rod, snip it so that it's free, and she'll put it in our annealer so it can cool down nice and slow. It'll be stable and ready for sale the next morning. One way that we found to help supplement our huge propane bills is by renting out the studio to other experienced artists. Here is one of our regular renters, Trish Dalto. We let her rent out our shop and use all of our equipment to do her own work, in which she sells here in our gallery as well as everywhere else around the world. We had a customer request for a lamp, and it was a big hit. So now we've started to make all these different designs, custom orders, custom colors, custom shapes. It's been a lot of fun, and it's been a really lucrative path to go down. We try to make a wide range of products to hit every customer base. These are some of our frequent selling items, which are our flowers. They're a little more expensive than some of the other things in our gallery, and we find that a lot of customers at farmers markets and other local craft fairs very much enjoy them. The flowers are also really nice because we're able to teach our students how to make them in their very first glassblowing lesson. As an artist, you're always looking to find your unique niche. We found ours on accident, actually doing something to help our family. So my grandfather passed away, and we blew his ashes into pieces of glass for everybody in our family to have. After that, we realized there was a need for other people in our community, and we started opening up our memorial services to the public. We now work with local pet crematoriums, veterinary clinics, as well as funeral homes and human crematoriums to offer these memorial services for other people. To think about more economical products as well as products that go really well for children, we have some pendants here. We like to do smaller animal pendants so that people can find a connection with them, and it's also affordable for everyone. Here we have our award-winning jellyfish. When we were first opening up the studio, we really wanted to find a way to make a statement and show exactly how skilled we were as glass artists. This is the result of that. We entered it in an online glass art competition through Delphi Glass, and we won first prize. It was very exciting. It gave us a lot of good exposure, and it was a lot of fun to make. If you have any questions about starting a glass blowing studio or learning how to blow glass, please feel free to contact us. We love to teach classes. You can find us on our website at www.terrapinglass.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Terrapin Glassblowing Studio, as well as Instagram and Twitter.
Hopefully you learned some tips on how to start your own glass blowing business and how to do it safely. Now, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. All you have to do is click this button right here, or you can click it in the description if you're on your cell phone. Also, if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, comment below, and share it out on your social media sites. Those really help me. Thanks. One last thing is you can find all my unpublished and private videos over at TarrinLupo.com. Currently, the story coming up is how to grow carnivorous plants and also how to make your own mead.